Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, I want to talk to you about an accessory that I picked up off of Amazon that gives me the ability to control my tablet inside of my car. And I will say the position of my tablet, I do have an issue reaching the iPad when driving. But first, inside the box, you do get a short USB-C cable, an instruction manual, and the remote itself. Now, the build quality itself does feel really cheap, which it could be due to the fact that it only weighs 34 grams. It's, I would say, like night and day compared to the similar looking Apple remote. My last note with the remote is it is very slippery in the hand, so it's something that you should keep in mind. Now, on a positive note, when using the trackpad, it doesn't have any lag and it is very responsive. With that said, I will say the trackpad, when pressing down, is extremely loud and it attracts a lot of fingerprints if you happen to have greasy fingers. While on the trackpad, it's very responsive. When the remote is in scrolling mode, I did notice the trackpad feels very unnatural since it does not have the inertia. The remote itself does have two LEDs which are positioned below the trackpad, starting with the LED on the left-hand side, which is labeled parent battery. When the left LED is a solid red, that means that the remote is charging, and the solid LED turns off when the charging is complete. Normally it takes anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours if the remote is completely dead. To help out with battery, the remote will turn off automatically if the remote has not been used in 5 minutes. Now, to determine if the battery is low, the left LED will blink blue. I've had this remote for about 2 weeks and I have yet to charge it. And this is based on using the remote about 3 days a week, which involves trips that normally range from about 2 hours to 2.5 hours. Moving over to the right LED. If the right LED is a solid red, this tells the directional pad has been activated. I'll talk a little bit more about the directional pad later in the video, but it's important to know if the LED is a solid blue, that tells me that the scroll mode has been activated. Now, moving back to the left-hand side of the remote, you're greeted with a home button, which works very similar to the home button that once lived on iPhones. So if you want to activate Siri, you want to hold down the home button. And if you want to go to the iPad's homepage, you would simply just press the home button. And lastly, if you want to see your most recently used applications, you would double press the home button. Now, to the right of the home button, you have the switch button that allows you to switch the remote from mouse mode to scrolling mode. Now, below the home button and the switch button, you have the directional pad, as you can see here, which houses the volume controls, the play and pause button, and the previous and forward button. Now, to activate the directional pad, we will have to press this small circle button to the left of the volume control button that turns the volume down on the iPad. Now, while you can move the cursor around by simply using the trackpad, while the directional pad is enabled, the cursor will have a higher level of precision if you choose to use a directional pad. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, moving to the bottom of the remote, there is a button on the left-hand side that requires a pin to press. This button is the parent button that, when pressed, illuminates the left LED and blinks blue. Now, when the remote is in parent mode, setting up the iPad for me was very easy. All you have to do is jump into your settings on your iPad and navigate over to the Bluetooth. The name of the remote control and your Bluetooth settings is called Bluetooth Remote Controller. The remote itself has an operational distance of 33 feet or 10 meters. Now, if the remote goes out of distance from the iPad, the remote will auto connect once the iPad and the remote come back into range of that 33 feet. This remote does support Bluetooth 5.1, which I believe is the latest version of Bluetooth. Staying on the bottom of the remote, there's a charging port that lies between the parent button and the on and off switch. As I mentioned earlier, the remote supports USB-C, and there is a short USB-C cable that's included in the box. The on switch is located on the bottom right of the remote, and if the switch is positioned to the right, that means the remote is on. And if the base of the switch is green, that's also a good indicator that the remote is on. This remote is only offered in one color, which is black and silver. The silver is real aluminum that wraps around the bottom portion of the remote. I've determined that this is real aluminum and not plastic dressed up to look like aluminum due to the fact when I touch it, it's cold to the touch. In conclusion, this remote overall is a great remote. I do wish it had a better build quality. Also, I wish the trackpad had some level of inertia to make things more natural, but that could be a limitation set by Apple or something that a firmware update could fix. Otherwise, I think that is going to do it for me for this video. I appreciate you watching. I hope my review has given you some insight on if this is a good purchase for you. If you have any additional questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, if you like the video, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more from Apple Fan Dad. Later.